For all you Groundhoppers out there, this podcast is for you.
Hey guys, this is the FANA Fan Podcast. I'm Ben.
And I'm Topless, and for all you Groundhoppers out there, this podcast is for you. And tonight we are joined by Nuneaton fan and the man behind the popular Twitter account, Kizzy's Corner Picks. It's the man himself. It is Kiz. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you doing?
Good, thank you, mate. Thank you for coming on. It's great to have you.
No worries. Try and fit you in my busy schedule of groundhopping.
So, Kiz, how did you get into football? What's your story behind it?
My dad used to take me as a young lad in my before I was 10, I think, down to watch Nuneaton Borough, which we were known as, and then got changed to Town, and we're back to Borough again. It's a long story. So started watching home matches in the seats on the side in the main stand, and then eventually, we just kept watching more and more games and got into it that way, watching a local club, because I think that the Premiership had just started in the early 90s. And with that came more expense for people to go and watch. So he used to take us to watch Coventry City once or twice a season. We just got into Nuneaton because that's where we lived, and it was cheaper to watch. And then my dad eventually got into being a mascot, so someone who dresses up as a bear for the kids and stuff. So with us being kids, he got into that, and then just grew through the years really, and then started watching us away on the coaches in my teens, literally not missing a game through kind of mid to late 90s, and we had quite a good team as well, winning leagues and cups and things, so it was a good time to watch us and proper got me into football. So because originally when I was very young, I was a Man U fan. Used to love Eric Cantona. Around about sort of, do you remember the grey season, the grey kit? I think that's late 90s, early 2000s. So that's when I used to support United as my main kind of big team. And then just started watching Nuneaton, and Nuneaton's been my team ever since then.
Mm-hmm. Whereabouts in Nuneaton now then? What league are they in? Because they're obviously quite well known. Yeah,
we've been up and down the league. So now in the Southern League Premier Central, it's called. Right. I've done all the leagues, teams in that league, grounds wise, so there's nothing exciting for me to look at in terms of watching Nuneaton. I do go to home games occasionally, go and see the family and that, because I live up north now, and moving away that's what's got me into me groundhopping a bit more, and ticking off the North East Counties League. But we're looking at have 1 or 2 days out with the lads with the beers and stuff, if we can get everyone together, which would be decent.
That sounds great, mate. Is the Southern League Central? Is it step 3? Is it below the?
Yeah, step 3. Yeah. So I need quite a lot of the teams down in the south one. So I was hoping we'd get put in the south, but there's plenty more teams in the south. So because with us being in the Midlands, it's we've always got that north-south split where we're going to go, especially when you get to the National League North and South sort of sides. And watching Nuneaton, it's helped with us going up and down the leagues really. So we've been in like Southern League, Midland Division. So we're playing teams like, before all the restructure, Barton Rovers, Woodford United, and small teams like Marlow, which got me to go to some decent grounds in little places that you wouldn't normally go. And we take 300-400 fans sometimes, and then swamp these little places with the pubs and flags up all in the grounds and that. So that was when we went down the leagues, and obviously we were performing well near the top of the leagues, getting in the playoffs and those. So those were good times as well in sort of mid-2000s, I'd say, about 10 years ago.
What was Nuneaton's highest point? What was the highest league they were in?
We've been in the, I always call it the conference, but the National League Premier. So playing teams like Cambridge, Wrexham, Grimsby before they all got to Football League. And they are big teams, big crowds. And we're taking our normal away following to those places and being swamped and getting beat 3-0. Well, Grimsby's always been a good place for us to go. I always remember Grimsby, we've beat them twice, I think, at their own ground. And I remember going to Luton in the conference when they were top of the conference. And we were winning 1-0 to like the 85th, 86th minute and getting Luton fans just absolutely drilling into their team, wanting the manager out because they're losing to Nuneaton at home. And I think we lost 2-1 in the end, like 96th or 97th minute winner as proper gutting. we played him in the FA Cup as well a few years ago, and we gave him 3 sides of our ground, and there were about 4,000 Luton fans there. So always big teams, and now look where they are. So
yeah, absolutely. It's a long way from where they were.
Yeah, it makes me look at teams like Harrogate, because they were Conference North. I still call it the Conference, but Conference North, and now they're in the Football League. So, and Harrogate's a similar size town, if not smaller than Nuneaton. So there's so much potential for us as a club and as a town to make it up the leagues if that's where we want to go. And we're always Southern League level. It is a part-time level, and we tend to have the best part-time players. And then when we got to the conference, we were searching for full-time players and relying a lot on loan players, and then we're using like 50, 60 players a season. It just never works. So that's why we ended up going down.
Shame. Do you think they can get back up to where they were one day?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Yeah, we've got starting to build a good squad this season. We've got Leroy Lita in our squad.
Right.
He's ex Premier League, and I think he was at Bristol City, and I think he's won cap for England, I think. So he was with us towards the end of last season, or what was last season, and he's in the squad this season doing his coaching badges. It's a good mixture of old senior players and young players as well that have got the ambition. And I think what we need is more local players to come through the youth. So when we were doing well, we always had a good kind of local base of the team, so to speak. So 3 or 4 players that are from the Nuneaton and understand the Nuneaton and the club a bit more, and then they want to push us forward. Instead of what we've had recently is a big squad turnover, and a lot of players that perhaps don't understand the club and the town and how big we are so much. So yeah, I think if we push it this season, we should be getting playoffs or above. If not, then automatic promotion straight into the Conference North again, which will be a tough league to get through.
Yeah,
they've done it before, so there's no reason why we can't do it again.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, definitely. Why not?
What about in terms of the FA Cup runs then? Does there be any magic moments of the Cup?
There's a couple I could think of. The most recent one we've got to 3rd round was 2006. We played Histon in the 2nd round proper, another non-league club. So you've always got a massive chance then of getting through to the 3rd round. Drew at our place, played them away in a replay that was all ticket. We won the replay 2-1, I think. And we knew we'd had Middlesbrough away. No, it was at home actually in the 3rd round proper. So we played Middlesbrough at home. Gareth Southgate conceded a handball in like the 86th. It was very late in the game, and luckily we scored the penalty and got the replay. And then when we played them away, we took 5,500, 6,000 to the Riverside. And we lost 5-2, but they played all their first team. They had Yakubu, Mendieta played. Yeah, so that was the season they were in Europe as well. So they had a massive squad. Viduka, players I can remember. Obviously Southgate at the back. So they had a really good team, and it was a really good run. And a few years before that, we had Stoke City. We drew with them away and then beat them at home. So that was a good run. And then we played Bournemouth away before they've got up through the leagues, and lost there. I think they had Jermaine Defoe playing for Bournemouth, and they beat us 4-0. So yeah, some good runs there. But also just going through the qualifying rounds, when you get far, and when I used to watch Nuneaton home and away, you can remember the qualifying rounds a bit more. So one of them was like a replay away at Tiverton, which is a long way on a Tuesday night. And I remember going down with the lads, and we had a few beers, driving down, obviously not the driver. And I put my beer on the top of the car in the service station, and he drove off. So I can remember the beer rolling down the motorway. Good times. And also scoring an equaliser or winner in the last minute, and then going on the pitch and then celebrating with the players and stuff. It's always good times. It's always a bit more in the FA Cup, especially now with the money that you can win for going through the rounds as well. So equally in non-league, I love watching the qualifying rounds, and sometimes you can get the BBC changes the kick-off to 12:30. So you can always try and get a double in, and also then you can try and feature on TV because they get on the BBC red button, so you can see yourself in the crowd and watch it back, which is always fun.
Yeah, I've had that a few times. We had it in the playoffs when we drew 5-5 against Swindon away.
Yeah.
You can always see me in front of the goal, either celebrating because we managed to get an equaliser or gutted with 3-0 down after 12 minutes.
Yeah. So good times. You always remember it, and then seeing yourself after as well. It's a good laugh.
So, in terms of Nuneaton, then, what sort of fan base do they have at home? You said this set like 300 to away games. What about home crowds?
Yeah. The crowds most recently have probably dwindled a bit, and I'll hold my hands up. I live up north now, and I've stopped watching us as much as what I used to. We're probably down to a core of about 300 or 400 that go home games that have probably got season tickets. So then crowds are probably 500, 600, 700, depending on who we're playing, and teams that bring away fans. And what I find in the Southern League, you get less away fans travelling to places, so the crowd's always going to be smaller. And I think also we're one of the most expensive clubs in the league as well, which also probably links into our wage budget and things like that as to why they price it like that, which has reduced the crowd slightly.
Mm-hmm.
I also think, we left our main ground, the old ground 10, 12 years ago. And when we moved to the current one, it's a bit more out of the town. So people won't walk to it from the town. Because there used to be 2 or 3 pubs on the road to the ground. You could stop at the pubs and then easily walk from town to the ground, which would help the attendance figures.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing when they move it. I mean, there's grounds like if you go to Scunthorpe, for example, especially if you go on the train, it's miles away from the train station.
Yeah.
And they have the bus where if you show your match day ticket, they will take you into the vicinity. But if you haven't getting a train and you don't, I wouldn't enjoy that walk if you had to do it.
No, I can see it with Premier League grounds why they build the new ones like Brighton a bit outside the town, and they've got a good bus system there in terms of getting the fans to the grounds. And also you look at the New York one that's coming, it's way out of town, and people are used to going Bootham Crescent. You can very easily get the train to York and walk to the ground via a few pubs, and looks like the new one it won't be the case. So it's one of them really.
Yeah, it's a shame really, because I did it before. I walked straight. It's just literally 5 minutes from the centre. Bootham Crescent was honestly, it's easy.
Yeah.
Whereas this one at Monk's Cross, it's 3 miles away from the city centre.
Yeah. So you're going to have to get a bus or a taxi, and it's just extra hassle.
Yeah.
Less drinking time.
Yeah. Well,
it's
that's
not good for the not good for the pubs either in the area.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there is many. So we'll see. But I'll get it done next year, fairly early, and we'll see what it's like. But it's one of those standard new build ones with multicoloured seats and matching it for the rugby as well, aren't they? So
yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the multicoloured seats, but I was looking at Smith's. He did it on the road with Brentford, and he says the sort of reason they've done it now because it makes it a bit more like fuller. So.
But the size of the ground for Brentford, I think they're going to fill it anyway, aren't they? Especially with them now in the Premier League.
Yeah. Was it 16,000?
Yeah. It's really small for Premier League. I know Bournemouth's small when they were there, but they've got that many season ticket holders. I think Brentford have took season ticket off sale because they're not going to have enough capacity versus the amount of fans that want to go and watch the game, and especially with the away fans in Premier League. Just the Premier League attraction, basically. If you want to go and watch Man City, one of the top teams, it'll be almost impossible to get a ticket at Brentford.
Yeah.
Well, I can remember you saying, when I met you that day when we went to Alwoodley, you told us that you'd looked at applying for a Brentford season ticket for this season.
Yeah. Last season, obviously, the COVID kind of made my decision go, but I thought that would be the easiest way to go and watch them and also go to the first game at the stadium. I decided against it because it were, 500 quid. And then with COVID, there was no guarantee that you'd see any games, which turned out to be the case. I think it were 1 or 2. But I think looking into it, they've carried it over for this year if you bought one for last year, which is good, but it just weren't worth the risk for me for doing that. And then probably I'd go and watch some of the games, but not every game. Living up north, getting down to Brentford is a bit of a trek, and then I'd have plenty of friends and contacts that could use my ticket via the ticket resale, if you're allowed to do that, to send it on anyway to other people to go.
Well, again, even if you look at the ground, it's a bit poorly designed. It's like there's some sides where you can see out of the ground, and you feel
it's
like
unique, isn't it? It's unique.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's that, but
I think it's the size of the land in the area in London that you're really going to struggle to find anywhere for a new ground.
Yeah.
So a lot of the clubs have, I know Arsenal moved and Spurs had to put it on the same site. And just speaking about Spurs, it is a really fantastic ground and a fantastic experience. So I definitely recommend going to it. But yeah, like London clubs have got no chance of finding land and relocating. Fulham as well, they've had to build that extra stand on the side over the river because probably just finding somewhere for a new ground would be impossible.
It was same with Chelsea. They tried to get planning permission to sort of build on Stamford Bridge, but I don't know what happened with that because that was a few years back. But I think they have like a train line behind it, so they would have had to like knock it down and sort of move it a little bit, a bit like what Spurs have done. But I'm guessing the planning permission must have gone for that. But the only way they could extend is by building on what they already have. Yeah,
exactly. They've got all those flats and apartments behind it as well. So knocking anything down or even building higher to increase class would probably be declined in terms of the planning permission.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what about some of the grounds you've been to? How many have you been to so far?
How did you fall into groundhopping?
Groundhopping was through watching the Nuneaton, and I checked my stats earlier, and I've done 195 just watching the Nuneaton because we've been up and down the leagues. And then, like, if you go abroad, I've been going abroad to like music festivals and things like that, and then I think, well, I'll see what football's on. If I go to Holland, I'll go and watch Ajax if I'm near Amsterdam, or been to see PSV. Germany, the same. If you're over there, I tend to double things up with football and music. So you always get the foreign grounds, and then also moving away from the Nuneaton, living up north, you kind of lose touch with your own team because I didn't want to travel 100 miles there and back to watch us play. So I started getting in watching the local teams around Donny, so like Armfort, Welfare, Rosington, and then you learn more about the leagues and the structures. So I've done all the northern counties east, and then started working my way into the northwest counties, and then further up to the Northern League, and also travelling down to the Midlands a bit more, which I wish I'd done historically. Either not watching the Nuneaton because I went to Nuneaton religiously there with my team home and away, and now I'm more into the groundhopping, and I've started chipping away at the leagues. And now I regret doing some of the kind of closer grounds on Saturdays because I'm getting to the stage where I'm at now where I've just hit 1,000. I've got no grounds with floodlights that are in kind of a travelable distance from work, which is going to hit me in the winter. So I've probably got 8, 9, 10 stuff at step 5 and 6 that I can get to. I've done most of step 3 up north. I've done step 3 down to like south of the Midlands area. So getting to grounds with floodlights now, especially in the winter, will be more. And I tend to not revisit grounds, so then you're saving money for future visits. And that's how I've got my numbers up recently. And also, I'm not bothered any games of football is a game really. I'll go and watch Sunday League. I'll go, obviously with all the restrictions things now as well. We've started watching the Hope Valley League. Seen a couple with yourself, Jake. Also, when we found a double when the friendlies started getting announced, we went up to our Woodley and Leeds, and then because that were a 12 o'clock kickoff, we could get somewhere else for 2 o'clock, and that's what I'm always on the lookout for is doubles and makes your travelling worthwhile. So even just yesterday, I went up to Scotland because Scotland's now open again, and they're waiting spectators, and it was the first time that a lot of clubs were opening up again and saying spectators welcome. So I thought, right, I'll take the opportunity, and drove up to Scotland, set off at 7 o'clock in the morning, and did a game at 12 and then another game at 2. And it makes the journey worthwhile by doing 2 games on a day.
I totally agree with you on that one. Nothing better than a Saturday or more.
Yeah. And obviously as well, we get these organised ground hop weekends that Lawrence and Chris put on with their team as well. And sometimes you can get 4 in a day, which is great. And it also saves travelling backwards there and forwards. You can stop overnight. They would do it on like an Easter bank holiday weekend. So you get 4, 4, 3, one on the Friday night as well. So it's a good way of getting 10 plus grounds all in a weekend for the package, and it's great. And I've met a lot of people through doing it. Through your Twitter page, and also just speaking to people when you go to these weekends as well, and seeing what clubs they support and numbers of grounds that they're on, and just getting to know people a bit better.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'd love to do an organised ground up sometime. One thing I'm definitely keeping my eyes out next season.
Absolutely, with the restrictions reducing, they're on about contacting a few of the leagues to get them going again. And I think like some of the teams, especially in like northwest counties, you get like 50 to 100, and then some of they do a ground up weekend, they're getting 300, 400, if not more. And it's obviously beneficial to clubs to do that and have that day, and it's a good income cash source for them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the leagues are quite fussy, I think, from hearing the organisers. So some leagues just say like rigidly, no, we're not changing kickoffs. We're doing 3 o'clock on Saturday, and that's all. And fair play to the league if that's what they want to do. But yeah, some leagues are flexible, and I think they tend to do the same leagues year after year until they've completed them.
Fair play. Hope I'm not too late for some of them then.
No, they should be keeping going. There's plenty to do, plenty of leagues to go at, so plenty of travelling to do.
You would think though that the head of the leagues would sort of plan this themselves, just for the revenue for the non-league clubs.
Yeah.
It was only one weekend, didn't it? To be fair.
Exactly, and I think sometimes the leagues or the chairman, they're very old school. So they probably just don't even think that it's something that can happen or that it's worthwhile doing for the clubs. So it takes someone like the Ground Up UK organisers to contact them to make them think about it. Some of the leagues, like the Central Midlands League, will always have a Friday night kickoff if the ground's floodlit, and it does help to increase the attendance slightly because more people are looking for games to go to on a Friday night. And also, I think if the club can engage with the local people and put an offer on for drinks or admission, reduce it slightly, or put something on for kids, or I think even Maltby Main up here, they did an organised dog day, bring your dog and you get in free, and that brought in 200 plus, which was double their normal attendance. So just little things like that clubs can do.
Like I say, with Central Midlands League, I know 2 teams have floodlights. There's Retford United, Mansfield, Rosary Mills. Yeah. Where's your money?
There's a few more. They always have games on Friday nights. I think there's Pinkston, Clay Cross.
Yes, Pinkston,
yeah. So I was going to say Arnold Town, but I think they're in what was the East Midlands Counties League that's now gone. So there is a few that area that are all easy to get to in terms of your location, Jake, that you can look at, especially on Friday nights. It's perfect.
Definitely.
What would you say the best ground you've been to then?
1,000 of them to choose from.
One that sticks out is Dortmund in Germany. Very obvious, the yellow wall and the fan base, and just the whole experience in Germany is brilliant. You get like the fan bars. Well, some of the Premier League clubs do it now. You get the fan bars outside the grounds that put on the beers and the pre-match game and like live music and stuff like that, and it does make your whole experience very enjoyable. When I went to Dortmund, it's impossible to get a ticket for the yellow wall itself, so I actually went in the away end, which was, I think it was Hamburg that were away. They had Rafael van der Vaart playing it with, and the game was 5-2. And I was with, I was in the away end on the upper tier, but a lot of them were Dortmund fans themselves that just can't get tickets, or just neutrals like me. So, but the whole ground and the atmosphere, because they have the, it's not safe standing, but general standing terraces in Germany with the flag waving, and I think the teams are more engaging over there to the fans than what they are over here. like Klopp's introduced the thing with Liverpool where they're doing the waving at the end if they've won and stuff like that, and they just do that in Germany anyway. It's a standard thing over there, and I think the actual fan player engagement and the whole experience in Germany is a bit better than what you get over here.
Interesting.
Other grounds, I like Rangers for the atmosphere. Celtic, same again, very good, always good. I'd love to go to a Rangers Celtic match in Scotland. Again, it's just getting tickets for something like that. In England, I like Newcastle. Newcastle, the friendly people are very, very friendly up there. It's a very good experience. I've not been in the away end there, just the home end there. So I think going in the away end on the third tier, and I think it's like so high up there. I'd like to try it. Ben, you've probably been. Have you been to Newcastle and sat in the third tier?
Tallest in Europe. Tallest in Europe, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't. I had tickets for the Newcastle away end, but that was the game when obviously COVID hit and it cancelled. Cancelled fans from going. So I did have tickets and I was scheduled to go there, but I've not managed to get there. So that is one I need to go back and try and get to.
Yeah, if I'm going to do a revisit, and also with Premier League, the kickoffs being changed to Sundays or R5 kickoffs, I can do a new ground at 3 o'clock in the Northern League. And then if I was going to do a revisit to a Premier League ground, I'd probably say there. Everton is very good as well. I like Everton because you've got the old school mix in terms of the ground itself. And probably the Premier League ground where I've been most is Villa. I like Villa. My brother supports Villa, so 50 plus times, and also in Villa in Europe as well. European games are always a good one to go to. So yeah, there's plenty of choice in England in terms of places to go and watch, and I've had good experiences in general at most Premier League grounds, to be fair.
Is there any big non-league grounds that you like as well, Kiz?
Non-league
in any country, by the way.
It's really difficult to try and think of non-league grounds that I love. I go to a complete mixture, so anything, any step. The conference level, I try to avoid the 3G sort of ones, or leave them till last. I'll go and watch like the Hope Valley League for the backgrounds, if you like that sort of thing, for your panoramic and nice scenery. But equally, you can go to like Stockport or somewhere for the atmosphere because there's big attendance and a bigger crowd there. And just like their stand behind the goal is bigger than Nuneaton's capacity for our ground put together. So playing teams like that, I love. I generally just love driving anywhere. I don't like the abundance of 3G cages that are tending to be coming in now. So one that I went to towards the back end of last year was Galston, which is out on the east coast, Yarmouth way. Really good there, and they're moving grounds. And another one similar that was moving grounds was Wimborne, down near Poole, and they've moved to a new facility now, which is 3G and just got your standard kind of new stands, which I think we'll see a lot of non-league clubs go into, which is unfortunate for us kind of ground enthusiasts, but it's probably better for what the clubs are looking to do in terms of getting a community facility, the 3G pitch, they can rent it out and make an income from it. Just because that links into Sutton United, who've just won the conference or the National League. They had a 3G pitch, same as Harrogate. They've got to tear up that 3G pitch now to go in the EFL, and they'll lose that income and probably the community in terms of kids and training and things like that can play on it when the first team are not playing. So it's a bit of a shame, really, but rules are rules.
Yeah, and they're probably going to have to fork out a bit of cash to play somewhere else while it's being done as well, maybe.
Exactly, yeah.
Unless they get it done quickly.
Yeah, I'm not sure they've announced where they are going to be playing. Yeah. Keep an eye on it. Yeah.
It's the same with Worksop. They when I went a few years ago when the ground sharing with Hands of Paramore, they had grass. And now that they've moved to a sort of 3G style pitch, and they have sort of 7-a-side competitions. They have like football camps throughout the summer for children. So that's just more revenue for them.
Sunday League teams will play on it as well, and they'll pay to play. So they'll make a good income from it.
Yeah, same with Ilkeston as well. They're doing it currently, aren't they?
Yeah, but at least they're not moving to a new ground. They've still got the 3G pitch within the same ground, so it's still a similar experience. You still got the stands and things to look at.
Definitely.
Worst grounds I can think of, because I drive to most places. You can actually drive into the ground and you can park right next to it, which I love about non-league. And I'm saying worst because like you get to the gate and there's no turnstile. There's just a man on the car park and saying, right, that's £5. We got to, I think we were watching the Nuneaton play away at Coventry Sphinx, and there were 5 lads in the car. And he goes, right, there's 5 of you, that's £25. Once you're in, lads. And we just drove into the ground and like parked behind the goal. So that's the experience you get in non-league. And I love turning up at 2 minutes to 3 and parking right outside the ground and just walking in very easily. Rather than if you go to a Premier League ground, you have to park 2 miles away. You're probably paying some local to look after your car for a £5 or whatever, so you don't rob it. And then you've got the walk to the ground, which is miles away. So that's why I love non-league.
Fair play.
If I was to, I love non-league as well because you can get a pie, you can get a pint, you can get entry, probably a programme as well for about £10 to £12. So it just makes the whole experience and day a bit better. And also you can get chatting to local people. And if you support one club, you get to stand, and also whichever way you shoot, and you can walk around to the other goal. Obviously, the further higher up the leagues, you get segregated. Sometimes what I love, like in the Southern League, you get a lot of grounds, and even at ours, you can move which end you're shooting. So that's another experience that you get in non-league. Or if you're watching Premier League, you can go every week, but you'll be sat next to someone different every week, because that's the nature of Premier League football and people paying ticket money, etc., which clubs are going to do.
That's the thing as well in terms of when the prices of the Premier League is like, I just renewed my season ticket for Sheffield United and we got a four game discount, and it's just come to £275 for Championship season.
Yeah.
But then when we played Burnley, the final game of the season, of fans were allowed in, they were charging £40.
Yeah.
So it's like you've done a really good thing charging these prices for a season ticket, but then for what a lot of fans just call it glorified friendly, because we were already relegated.
You were already gone. But Burnley had nothing to play for.
Yeah.
No away fans. £40 was a lot. Did you go?
Yeah. So it's like it's ridiculous. But then again, the only thing I like about the away part of the Premier League is the cap. So you're not going to pay no more than £30 for an away ticket.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. If I was going to a Premier League game now, I'll try and get a ticket anyway. And obviously, like clubs like Burnley, how many they're going to take to Brighton? Probably the same with Sheffield. I don't know whether they'd fill their allocation, so you've got a chance of getting a ticket. If you've got a booking history with them, then that's a good opportunity to save a bit of money.
That's how I got into Leeds, that going into away end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it's like, again, when we played Leeds in the Championship and Sheffield Wednesday, you're talking 40+ quid for a ticket.
They'll always charge a premium to watch the top clubs, because more people are going to want to watch that rather than watching, I don't know, Brighton or Bournemouth or Burnley in the Premier League. So they're always going to charge a bit more, aren't they?
Yeah. What about fans then? What would you say the best and worst fans you've experienced?
It probably links into the same grounds that I've said. So Dortmund and anywhere in Germany is always good to them. They realise when they realise you're English, they're like, "Oh, what are you doing here? Why have you come?" I just like come to for the German experience, and they're always very friendly and welcoming. I love Nuneaton's fans. We've got our own very special set of fans that will watch us home and away, and we can have a joke and a laugh about our own fans, and people take it in the right way, which is a good laugh. Worst fans, I think we've had a bit of a rival with Lincoln. They brought some fans, and I think Alfreton as well. They brought some fans to us, and it's all kicked off at our place when it's not been segregated. And you always get the rivalry with local teams like Tamworth in our league. Tends to get a bit naughty sometimes. we've had a few kickoffs at our place in terms of away fans turning up and wanting to start some stuff, and we've got our lads sort of firm as well that will turn up for the big games.
Lincoln City.
Yeah, Lincoln City. We played them first round of FA Cup and walked from the train station. They kind of marched us from the train station to the ground, and just not a good experience. Also, going into local pubs and are you Nuneaton? Yeah, get out of our pub. We're not having you lot in here. It's the kind of thing that's just not very welcoming at all, really. So that also links into my neutral stuff going Groundhopping, because you don't really get that experience, I suppose, in terms of, because it's like, are you a home fan, mate? No. Are you away fan, mate? No. Just come here to watch some football, mate. And then they're just like, they'll talk to you then.
Yeah. It's a shame it's like that, really. Why can't we all be civilised? I mean, I went to Lincoln with Mansfield a few years ago. And I thought the Lincoln fans were ace in the ground, that is, anyway.
Yeah.
Because before we got there, Mansfield, we had a march from the bar that we were at.
Yeah.
And we got to literally just outside the ground. I remember it was a right turn. I think it might be on a bridge. And this guy got out of this taxi. One guy, and there's like a couple of hundred of us. He was like, come on. And everybody went after him. Police had to run. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
About 200 of us.
Yeah.
Embarrassing. Every club's got him, unfortunately, in this country.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. I've been to Millwall, and obviously they've got the bit of the reputation. I think it was a match against Burton in the Championship, and Burton are not one of the highest supported teams there, and that they were giving them a bit of jip. I think they lost the game as well, and it was probably the game I've been to where I've heard the most swearing and effing and at their own team, and actually in the crowd, and it can be quite intimidating outside the ground, walk into it as well, probably for an away fan. So that's probably a not welcoming place, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it with Millwall. Once you get off and sort of tube or train, you go down, and it's like show your away ticket, and you turn left, and you just got green fences for about 5-minute walk to the ground. Yeah. So it is one of them. It is intimidating, but you probably think it's one of the most secure, because once you're there, away fans,
fans. I've been to watch a couple of England away matches as well. So I've been to Kiev, Ukraine. That was a little bit intimidating, because obviously the language is just impossible. They don't speak English very well at all, and I think they want that. They want to feel that way against you, and they want the reaction from you, I guess. Whereas my kind of group of fans, we just want to go for a beer and have a bit of fun. Or sometimes, like you see in the Euros, with the throwing in the chairs and stuff like that. So this one's mostly at home anyway. So it'll be interesting how I think it'll be a good Euro 2020 in terms of the fans, and people are just glad to be back in grounds, really.
Yeah.
One of the lucky few to get a ticket. Well, I've not got a ticket, but if you are one of the lucky few to get a ticket, then fair play. Go and enjoy it.
Go on then. While we're touching on the Euros, who do you think who's going to win it?
I think you've got to look at Belgium. The squad that they've got is ridiculous. I know that they've not won it before. You've got France are always strong. Germans are always strong, aren't they? So Italy have been a little bit hit and miss, but you never know with them how strong they're going to be. There's more teams in it this year, so I think the top teams will come to fruition in terms of the later rounds. Our chances, Portugal as well. I think we'll get knocked out on penalties like we normally do. We've got big expectations. We've got a decent enough squad, but looking at the two friendlies tonight and last week, it's just the finishing and scoring goals. It just seems very boring and lacklustre in terms of the team performance. They seem like a group of individuals is what I feel. And I think also if you look at like Rashford and some of the other players have had a long season, I just think they won't put in the performance that we're all expecting, really. What are your thoughts?
Fair point. I mean, I just hope that the fans don't overtax the team, that show too much belief in them. So I think when we do that, we always underachieve.
Absolutely.
And I think we did that. I think a lot of England fans believed in when we played in South Africa in 2010. I remember seeing Terry Venables on TV singing, and then at the end it had a second star next to the badge, thinking, just maybe.
Yeah.
And then we got absolutely battered by Germany in the round of 16.
Yeah.
So it's never a good thing to overestimate the team.
But I think we always go in with high expectation, way, way higher. And it seems to grow for every tournament. It doesn't matter what squad we've got or what players we've got. You can go back to the late 90s, 98, 2000, 2002. We had good squads. You've got like Gerrard, Lampard, really good players, etc. And we just never seem to get there. You've got Beckham, players like that. And we didn't get there in terms of the chances that we had in the squad that we had.
Yeah. I mean, not to sound too hypocritical on what I've just said, but I do think we can win it. I do think we are capable of, but we have got the squad. I think the difference between this squad and the golden generation is I think these players seem to get along with each other better, because I think the golden generation had too many rivalries.
Yeah. And also I think we've got a younger squad that's maybe more hungry to win. And then if we don't win it this year, then we've got World Cups only next year, isn't it? So build on it and go forwards with the younger players. They should be hungry to win.
Ben,
I think it's between France and Belgium.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably more of a pessimist this year than what I was. I'm usually quite optimistic, but this year I'm not. I mean, realistic when you look at this, look at the squad. We're very defensive minded. Like we had 4 right backs at one point. We've got 3 now. We've got more right backs than what we have actual and natural strikers. We've only really got Kane and DCL.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're not going to batter teams. If we
win, it's going to be like the 2 friendlies. It's going to be 1-0. We'll scrape a penalty or a set piece from a corner where one of the centre halves score, and then we'll be holding on at the end.
Yeah.
And I think when we play good teams, it'll be very interesting next week against Croatia. You'd class them as a good team, probably not a challenging for the tournament team. They'll be difficult to break down. Yeah, they'll be set up, and they know probably what we're going to do. If we get that 1-0 lead, I think it'll be very difficult, and they'll be all over us. Because even tonight, Romania were showing some chances at the end, and it could have been an equaliser. But the West Brom keeper made a really good save at the end. So I think more stronger teams like Croatia will punish us.
I have to agree with you, I'm afraid. But then again, it wasn't our strongest side tonight, if we're looking at silver lines. But
exactly. And equally, then I don't think Southgate knows what his strongest team is or what the formation that's best to play for the squad that we've got.
It's difficult. I kind of stopped putting there. Sorry, man. I just saw ITV at the end put a 3-4-3 formation on there with question marks over who's going to be playing where. And I'm thinking, 4-3-3 all the way, me.
Yeah.
I just can't see you not having Henderson in that midfield. Not to sound biased Liverpool fan, but you need a leader in there. Henderson is a leader.
Yeah. We've not got much leaders. We still don't know what's happening with Maguire. I think Kane's a leader. Obviously, Kane's going to start. But then everyone's got a different formation. You could play 4-2-3-1. He's going to play 2 holding midfielders with Rice and Phillips from Leeds, with 2 wide men, your Rashford or Sterling or Sancho or Grealish, with Kane up front on his own. So, Foden as well. So I've not said Foden. You've got Mount there as well. There's a lot of good players. It's how you fit them into a formation to make it best for the team. So
we've got a lot of depth this time around as well, which is great.
Yeah. You could ask 100 fans, and there'd probably be 99 different teams.
Yeah. I think one disappointment I'm quite gutted I didn't get in was James Ward-Prowse, because he's one of them for the set pieces and for the corners.
Yeah.
I just think he just brings that. And
he's still good yet. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah,
good. Him and Lingard. I think Lingard had a strong season when he went to West Brom. You could see that. I think he tailed off towards the end. He's got a good chance to replace Trent. And then does he put another defender in because Trent's come out? I don't know. So there's like Godfrey played tonight, didn't he? So he's got a difficult decision.
I mean, I think the Croatia game, it'll either make us or break us. I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
If we get off to a good start, we'll finish first.
Yeah.
And if we draw, we can go.
We'll take a draw because we can beat Scotland. We can beat the Czech Republic. So
yeah,
I think if it's a draw against Croatia, I think it'll all depend on the nature of the draw. If we've gone 2-0 up and blown it 2-2, I think that'll be. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. But if it's a poor start and we've brought it back, it's like we've got character.
Yeah, it'll give us confidence. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then the nation gets confident as well, don't they? So yeah, and we get behind them rather than moaning.
Yeah. Well, if it's been a really even game and we've got a goal each, 1-1, we'd take that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But one thing I would say as well, I mean, I know we've played poor tonight, but we've won again when we've played poor. I've not known any England team play poor and win, so that's always a good sign, I think.
It is definitely a positive,
yeah.
There is, but then you've got to also look at the sort of the nature of the teams. So it's like, if we played poor and won against Croatia, or if we played poor and won against France, I feel like there's more benefits to that than playing poor and winning against Romania or Austria. But
absolutely.
Again, a win is a win.
Yeah.
So back onto Groundhopping then. Obviously, you've ticked off 1,000. Is there any grounds? What's on your bucket list now?
Anywhere in the world.
Argentina's definitely on my bucket list, and I've looked at flights and there's a few companies that put packages out there in terms of visiting the grounds themselves, and I think they're good options because they sort your tickets, they sort your travel out whilst you're there, your hotels all paid for and things, and food as well. And they'll show you the local, the grounds, the best places to go in terms of food. So I love meat. So Argentina, steak and things like that. Tied in with the ground, I'd love to go for a couple of weeks there and Buenos Aires and get a couple of those ticked off. I've missed out in terms of travelling to World Cup. So Brazil, South America again. I've been over to Hong Kong in Asia, and obviously the World Cup's been over there. Japan, I'd like to visit, maybe one of those. Grounds are not strong. I'm not sure how strong the Japanese league is now. But yeah, I'd love to just experience different cultures and how they watch football in different places. So they're on the bucket list. In terms of the UK, I've actually got this book, like Top 100 Grounds in Britain. So I've done about 2/3 of those. So I've got 30 something left. A lot of them are in like South Wales, or I've even got some at a reasonable standard, like Hampton and Richmond is in there. And a few in Kent. So that's on my bucket list to try and get those done. But then equally, you can look at league completions and things like that, which is what I'm trying to get done. So obviously, I've done the North West Counties, I've done the Nuneaton's League, but I want to get the National Leagues done. I want to get the Step 3 done. So there's plenty to do and go at. There's just not enough weeks in the season to get them all done. So I have to plan my weekends carefully where I go.
Yeah. And there's that homefans.net you've been looking at there for the package deals.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So they do European stuff as well. They'll take you on a trip to like Belgrade for the Belgrade Derby, for example.
The Old Firm Derby.
Yeah, they offer Old Firm as well. So something like that. I'd love to go to a derby game abroad and just see the full-on atmosphere. I've been to Dinamo Zagreb in Croatia for a game, and although the ground's huge, there were only about probably 3,000 there, so 10% of the ground, if that. And the whole experience there was a bit intimidating because we sat in a stand, and suddenly all these lads just came and surrounded us, and they all had these firecrackers and things like that, and fireworks and things like that. So one actually come down and it landed on the seat just in front of us and melted the seat away. So we were like, right, we're going to stay where we are rather than move the ground and just get the full-on proper experience, jumping and chanting and standing and doing stuff with them. So it was and drinking a beer at the same time I was watching the game. So it was great.
Fantastic, yeah. And that 100 Grounds book, is that the famous one by Mike Bailey?
Yeah, that is the one. It's got anything from Premier League, new stuff, Premier League, the old characterful ones that are falling apart, and you've also got then landscape ones where there's stuff in the background like the Hope Valley League. You've got stuff in like an island in Scotland, which is just bucket list stuff to get to, and it's like, I've got to try and get to it. When can I go to it in the summer? Because number one, you've got to try and find where the ground is. Number two, then you've got to try and get there. So can you fly there? Probably not. You're going to have to drive, get the ferry. Then, like, is the club going to be playing at home? Have they got a Twitter account? Probably not at those sort of levels. And then, like, is the game going to be on? If you've got all those things in line, then you can turn up 600 miles from home and then not be a game on. So plenty of things to look at and get planning, which I love.
I've been told about that one. It's the Isle of Arran, isn't it? The U camp.
Yeah.
The U camp.
Yeah. As in the sheep. Yeah, it's great. So it just looks amazing. Somewhere that you do want to go. And also, I think not many people have been there. And I think when you get there, it'll be just a huge, brilliant experience. And it is on my bucket list to try and get every ground in this book done. And I actually met Mike Bailey today and just chatted to him about it, how he came about getting into his photography. And he just started off like 10 years ago, just attending, and he found that he liked getting landscape and background photos of the scenery and the hills and things like that, and just watching football at a much lower level. And then he takes it to the next level in terms of travelling to the Scottish Islands and places like that. And actually, one experience of watching Nuneaton, for some bizarre reason, it was something to do with one of our directors or their company. We arranged a friendly away at Guernsey.
Okay.
So it was a Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff, and we left home at like 4:30, drove down to Poole, got the ferry across to Guernsey, and stayed the night in Guernsey with the playing squad. And there was only about 7 or 8 Nuneaton fans there. So it was a fantastic experience. Like, it was like going to a foreign game, but it's obviously still part of the British Isles. It's not every time you go and watch your team away on a ferry, especially in Nuneaton. I know there's like teams in the Isle of Wight and things like that. For down south, but yeah, that was a great weekend out, and I think we won the game as well. And also just like liaising, speaking with the manager, like who you're signing, who you're getting rid of, and just having full-on banter with the players. And I think that's what you get in non-league football as well. Because obviously in Premier League, you can't get near anyone, can you? So
no,
I love that.
What were they like in Guernsey then?
Really passionate about their team, and they were glad that they were going into the league system in England, because I think all they'd done previously was like Island games against Jersey, and there's another team called Alderney, which they still do this Island games. But yeah, so the ground itself was just a big stand on the side, like an athletics track thing. But yeah, they're well supported in terms of home crowds that they get, and also Jersey have come into the combined counties league as well now, which I need to get to. It's one of those things that it's on your list, and then it involves flying out there. It's one of those ones where you probably go on holiday for a week, and equally you got Isle of Man now coming to Northwest Counties as well. So I pretty much completed the Northwest Counties, and then you look at Isle of Man, and then obviously COVID's come and hit, and it's affected everyone. Can you go there? You can't travel there and stuff like that. And then yeah, it's one of those ones that I'd love to get to, and maybe tie it up with an Isle of Man game, and get that one ticked off.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
What about the bucket list then? So what's the next target? You've reached 1,000. What's the next target?
Numbers wise, I'm very happy with my 1,000. It was always a target, but then the Groundhopping is just never ending. It can continue, so there's always new targets and new places to go to. I love travelling to new places like Scotland yesterday, going and seeing a harbour with a double of 2 grounds, and also just seeing people up there that I've met before. So there's a guy that does the Scottish Football Fixtures website that I met there that I didn't know was going. There was a guy from Carlisle there who I've been chatting to and liking each other's statuses on Twitter and stuff like that, and you've never met him. And then he just turned up, and I was like, "You kids, yeah." So get chatting to them about stuff and grounds where they've been, and it's just a never ending, because you've got your leagues to complete, you've got your nice places to go, you've got foreign trips. Obviously, with seeing what's happened, I think with COVID and things, it's down to a lower level watching Step 7 football and below, which has been enjoyable as well. But I'd love to, obviously, as soon as I got the opportunity to go to Scotland and proper grounds, then I will do so. I still haven't completed my 92 yet, so that's another bucket list. I've still got 5 or 6 on there. Obviously, everyone's got Brentford and Wimbledon to do. But 92 is just an achievement, and I think a lot of, if you go and watch football, it's something to go and obviously go and do, and I've left it. So I bet there's not many people that have got to 1,000 and not done the 92. So
yeah, definitely.
What's the 5 of the 92 you got to do?
I've got Morecambe, Carlisle, Exeter, Brentford, Wimbledon. I think that's 5. So yeah, it's just one of those. I think I'll save them more for like the winter time, because you tend to get a lot of non-league clubs or matches being off in that time. So it's just, you have to organise tickets and things like that. If you're going to, you can't just turn up on the day and pay whatever to get in a lot of these. So yeah, especially Brentford and Wimbledon will be difficult to get our tickets for this year. But yeah, Morecambe, Exeter, Carlisle, they're all ones I can do. I don't really know who I've put them off, to be honest.
What about the Scottish? Is it the Scottish 72?
It's 42. So I'm halfway through that. Yeah, it's one of those where I will complete it. I've done most of the Premier League grounds. Obviously, in Scotland, you get games moved to Sundays with the Premier League with Rangers and Celtic in Europe, and so that helps. You can do one on a Saturday. The thing with League One and League Two in Scotland, you won't get any fixtures moved. They're always rigidly Saturday 3 o'clock. So it's a long way to go for one 3 o'clock game and come back, even from here. So if you're down south, it's just like one of those. You either travel or you don't. I do know one lad that lives in like Suffolk that's travelled up, and I think he's done 16 out of the 18 in the Scottish Highland League, which is some achievement, especially on the mileage. That's concerned for that. But yeah, 42, I'd love to get up and get them all done and get them all finished, because they have got a great variety and assortment of grounds up there. And I love going and watch the Scottish juniors. Some of the grounds are very old-fashioned. You've got terracing that's probably dangerous in England, and we just don't allow it. There's a lot less strict rules up there. I love going up there for the Scotch pies and iron brew, and it's just a tradition of going up there that if I go and watch a game in Scotland, I've got to have a Scotch pie with some ketchup on it, and I get laughed at for me ketchup. I shouldn't be putting ketchup on a pie, apparently.
Yeah, Henderson's relish, that's what you put on your pie.
Definitely won't get any of that in Scotland.
No. Well, that's the same with United. The pre-season tour we had start this season, we played a few games in Scotland. We played Dundee, and then I think we played a behind closed doors game at like Scotland's FA. There's a ground around there. I was hoping that, obviously with things coming back to normal, that we do a little pre-season tour.
Another pre-season tour. Yeah.
Get me sent back over, or get me sent to Scotland.
Yeah.
But
if you don't mind watching friendlies as well, it's a good way. Like yesterday, there was a game at 12 and a game at 2, so you can get doubles in, which makes the trip worthwhile. It ties into like the league stuff on a Saturday. Just going all that way for one game is difficult. So I think there are morning leagues up there, but then the lower down you go, you're just going to get a field or a 3G cage, unfortunately. But if you're just game watching, as some people do, then you can get your numbers up that way very easily. Makes the trip more worthwhile. But yeah, staying over on a weekend and doing a Sunday Premier League game in Sutton or Scotland Premiership, it's certainly helps.
Yeah. I've got a few friends what are Rangers fans, a few what are Celtic, and I've got one what's Aberdeen. So they're the sort of three main grounds.
If they're playing the away clubs. I went to Livingston, I think, and they just give three areas of the ground to the away fans, Celtic and Rangers, because they can sell the tickets. They charge a bit more and fill the stadium and cash in. Basically, the clubs do, because the difference between Celtic and the likes of Hamilton is just ginormous. Yeah. And they're in the same league. Well, they're not now because Hamilton have gone down. But yeah, it's good to know people who support those clubs too try and help you get tickets.
Yeah, definitely. So what about stories? Have you got any fun stories? What you've come across whilst groundhopping?
I've seen air ambulances on pitch. I guess it's not a fun story. I've seen floodlight failures. So I went to Flint in Wales 2 or 3 years ago. I saw 4 minutes of game, and it's then like, are you counting it? Are you not counting it? I saw a goal. So it's just one of them. I think I'll have to revisit it under Groundhopping rules, but there's no Groundhopping rules. Going to watch Nuneaton, there's always something happens, something fun with the fans, or we used to do a fancy dress on the last game of the season. So you get laughed at when you're all going in fancy dress on the train or in the pubs and stuff. It's always great fun.
That's a good one. I don't know if you've watched him. It's called Away Days on YouTube.
Yeah.
So what he does, he's called Ellis Platten. He goes with a mate, and what they do is he's always supporting the home team, and the other person always supporting the away team. And whoever wins, whichever team loses, they then have to go in fancy dress of a certain count to the next game. So they want to dress up as a hot dog to a game, because that was his fault.
Yeah.
So that's quite good. It has a bit more competitive. Is more of a competitive edge.
Yeah, I've seen people watching games. In fact, my dad stood next to my dad, and just in the warm up, you get the players are terrible in terms of just hitting it in the goal. They hit it over the stand, they hit it wide, and my dad was not watching. He was on his phone, and he had his glasses on, straight in his face. Broke his glasses, and then he couldn't see the game when it were on anyway. So that was a good laugh. It was something funny.
Oh dear.
Well, that's the thing as well. As much as I love watching United, and that's what I'll continue to do, you do sort of hear more stories, especially like in the non-league sort of section. That's where all the funny stories sort of come from.
Yeah. Like that Wheelston Raider non-league, obviously he took off in terms of what he said.
Yeah.
No fans. I've still not been to Wheelstone actually, so we'll go and meet him one day.
He came to do a shout out for us.
Yeah.
FANA Podcast, you got no fame.
He'll be up for that. Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Yeah,
he gets it all the time. Though, I bet.
I bet he does.
Bless him.
At one stage, he was doing appearances in clubs and stuff like that. What would he do? He'd go on stage. You got no fans, and then walk off the stage.
well, he made a song, and I think all money went to charity. So he has actually got a song out there as well about you got no fans.
Yeah,
has to give it a listen.
Wheelstone Raider, Wheelstone Raider, something like that. I think.
Yeah. I wonder what the club thinks of it. I don't know.
Well, it might have brought more fans to go to it.
Map,
yeah. But it's one of them. Is he made it more popular? Is it made more people not want to turn up?
I don't know. Not looked at it, but yeah, I'll go and say hello to him. Get a picture with him, probably. Good luck.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we end it with if you could sum up football within 3 words, what would it be?
Could be a 3-word phrase or 3 individuals.
Football is all about the fans, the experience, and for me, it's travelling as well.
So fans, experience, and travelling.
Yeah. So the fans, we've heard it all before, especially over this COVID. Football is nothing without the fans. Yeah. Right throughout all of the levels, from Premier League down to grassroots level. Grassroots level need the fans to survive, and equally Premier League do as well. Probably less so in terms of the rental income, but sometimes fans can't live without football. So it's affected people's mental health. In terms of like football on a Saturday is something that people will look forward to, and everyone, if you're a football fan, it doesn't matter what your club is, or if you're a ground-upper, you still look forward to going to that match on a Saturday and spending your time there. The passion, experience for me in terms of as a groundhopper, like you've not been there before. What photos can I get? What's the ground going to be like? Or you could then link it into your foreign travel. The whole experience there. The people going to be welcoming. How easy is it to get a beer? How much is it going to cost me? All that sort of stuff. Is it easy to get to the ground from the hotel? Things like that. I love planning trips and doing stuff like that. And then, what was the last one I said? I can't remember.
Traveling.
Experience.
Yeah, traveling. Yeah, so spoke about traveling, and even the UK, just traveling. And what I try and do is, if I go to a certain place, is try not go to the town or like yesterday, in Scotland, I went to a harbour and sat and chilled and had fish and chips, and that also all links into the travelling to places, which I love.
Well, fair
what about yourself?
I can't remember what I said.
What do you get? Yeah, what do you get normally from people?
Oh, it's we've had bit bite bug.
Yeah,
it's for everyone.
Yeah, football is life.
Passion. That normally comes up as a single word.
Yeah.
Along with other things. Yeah. What else have we had? Enjoy the beauty. That was a good one we had.
The beautiful game. Yeah,
we've had that one. Yeah, so many. We've not had a repeat yet, I don't think. If anybody,
it's coming home. That's the free word.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
All right then, lads. It's been great to have a chat and learn more about the podcast and yourselves, and hopefully you've enjoyed asking me and quizzing me, and it's been very helpful and useful to other people as well.
No, mate. Thank you for coming on. It's great to finally have you.
Yeah, and I'll see you out and about at a game. No doubt, Jack, and obviously games are starting to draw up now, and I'll enjoy the Euros. Yeah,
definitely, mate.
South Bend, good luck in the Championship next season. Get back up.
Yep, of the Blades.
Have you announced your new manager yet?
Yep, Jukanovic.
Good appointment.
Yeah, he got Watford and Fulham promoted. So
yeah, good experience, good history of doing it in that league. So should be all right. Yeah, see what players he brings in.
Well, we'll straight away link with is it Tom Kearney? Darren Kearney? He had him at Fulham.
Yeah.
So link with him in midfield.
Playmaker. Yeah. Good.
Right, sign him.
Yeah.
Take him and Mitrovic.
Yeah, I know he's at Fulham this year. He's not done a lot, but he's got that international experience, and he should be a decent goal scorer. He's one of those players. Love him or hate him, I think he's a player that the fans take to and love. But then if he doesn't perform, I think he could be one of those who has a bad attitude, and then it affects him for the rest of the season.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see what happens. The Championship's always competitive, isn't it? So
yeah. I'm just glad there's no Sheffield derby to go to another 0-0 draw.
45 quid a ticket.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's it. We had the 4-2, and then since that, last three games have been 0-0, and it's not lived up to the expectations or the hype of what it is, especially living in Sheffield. The hype building up to those games, incredible. I'm sure you know you both, Jake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a shame that the game didn't. So both 0-0. Gutted.
Oh, you went to one of the derby games?
But they're both, mate, the same season. They're both 0-0.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to one myself, probably the one after the 4-2 game.
Yeah. 0-0 one as well.
It's just dull. Both even each other out, and that's it. Yeah. I hate just some 0-0 games you get that can be good, and I think some groundhoppers as well. They don't count a 0-0. If they go, they'll have to go back again. I can't do that. I've done the ground.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Well, that's it. Obviously, the 4-2. That's the first time we played each other since the 2012-13 season. Or maybe the 2011-12-13. Yeah, 11-12 season, I believe. So it was like 6 years since we last played each other. And we had Wilder, Billy Sharp. So we had like just
Sharp in his prime,
everything was just United by blood, and it was the fact that Liam Clark, ex-Wednesday player, got 2, and when we went 2-0 up, they brought it back to 2-2, and I thought tables were going to turn. I thought they were going to go on to win it, but 35 seconds after conceding, we were making it 3-2.
Yeah,
that was what changed it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you'll remember things like that. It sticks in your head, doesn't it? So
yeah. As an away fan at that point, and you're just looking around and you're seeing 30,000 plus Wednesday fans jumping up and down, singing "If You Know Effing Bounce," and then not even concentrating much on game, and then you see Duffy get into position he does, and you're like, "Go on!" And then everything just like they go silent and we're going mental. It just happened so fast.
Yeah, memories, things like that, playoffs, they always stick in your head. So I've seen a few playoffs with Nuneaton, both losses. We've lost at home in the National North playoffs on penalties and extra time. It's just very nerve-wracking when you're watching your own club. And equally, we've won playoffs, semi-finals and finals as well, and had big crowds there and with away fans and really enjoyed it. And we've got a little bit of a rivalry, I would say, with Chase Town. We played them in the FA Cup, lost away. Then we beat them in the playoff final at home. So it equals itself out, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
That was the year they got to like the 4th or the 5th round, which is just unimaginable for a club of that size. And yeah, we were one of the teams that they beat on the way there.
Well, that's it. You always think, well, could that have been us, especially if we beat them?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, could have, would have, should have.
Yeah.
Biggest word in football, if only.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. Right. We'll wrap it up there then, kids. Thanks for coming on again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, mate.
Nice one, lads. No problem. See you out and about soon, and all the best for your coaching as well and stuff that you do.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.